Hey everyone, so I briefly wanted to talk about, this code book that I read. It was a practical book, obviously, as you can see, it's how to about rhetoric and being rhetorical, if that's the correct word to use in that situation. But I would say the most important thing that they stated, well, there was two things that they said about writing, clearly and persuasively, and also speaking clearly and persuasively. So we can go to writing first, actually. Even though they chose speaking first, we can go to writing. So with writing, you want to use less words. But the words that you use, you want them to be vivid. So, like, instead of saying, that was well, you would say, my heart is beating quicker because of how wonderful or splendid it was. So just write more vivid, and I came up with that on the spot, so it might not be that great of an example, but you want to do things like that to write like that, or that can even go with speaking better, but also with writing you want to have just plan things out. I could say that's one thing that J.K. Rowling said, which they said in this book, is when you write you want to have everything planned out, and this is a good plan, or it could be a mediocre plan, depending on the person you are. Some people, they like to just go at it free, like me. Like, I don't use any notes for none of these videos anymore, so I just go at this freely. But if I planned it out, maybe the videos would be more constructed, more lively, I could say, because I would actually know what I'm talking on instead of just going off my head. But I still like doing like this without planning it. But to write just well, I would say plan things out, especially if I'm thinking of, like, for school and things. Of course you want to plan things out. I'm not used to planning things out like that well, just because, as I said, I like going at it freely, but that's still dope. And that's obviously another way to do things. And lastly, we're gonna talk about speaking. And this was kind of maybe the main reason I picked up this book. Yeah, it definitely was. And coincidentally, this talked about the same thing that another book I've read by Mortimer Adler that stated, Pathos, Ethos, and Logos, which, I just forgot the order that they go in, but when it's supposed to do this, you have to show your character. And this book and How to Speak, How to Listen by Mortimer Adler, they have them in the reverse order. So that's kind of, you can choose whichever order you want these to be in, but this is the one that I've learned it in. And that's portray the character first. And with this, you basically want to show your audience that, you're worthy. And I could do that. I read this much books. Yeah. But I feel like I'm more here to inform instead of here to persuade you to like me. Like, I'm just here to talk to you about these books that I read. So, it's unnecessary for me to actually go through with this, but portray the character for the situation first. So make people want to believe that, you're basically the hero in this situation. Like, oh, hey, he's better than everyone. So that's, well, at least if you want to get a above average reaction. Or hey, maybe even being humble will allow you to get an above average reaction too. And other than that, you want to incite the emotions in the audience or in people. And with this, obviously through language, you use vivid language, as I stated earlier. That's really important. Or you can kind of flip the script. So, like, change the story. And this is pretty vague because I'm not giving a situation, but just flip the story. So, honestly, I can't think of a situation right now, but just, like, manipulate the other person to the point where, like, they actually believe something. Like there's a lot of things that I'm thinking of, but just, like, manipulator, like just like that. Just, like, flip the script. Act act a certain way to get the other person emotional. The audience, I should say. And lastly is, okay, I'm, like I said, I forgot all of them. But the other one is the resolution or the conclusion, basically. And this is basically what you want to get out of it, or what you want them to get out of it. So, hey, I've read 150 books. Well, more than that now. 175 books. If you want to read this book, if you want to get as smart as me, Citing the Emotion, wow, buy my course. That would basically be rhetoric, but it wasn't that good of an example. It was just something normal, but that's basically how people use rhetoric, and I would say in business and things like that. They state what they've done, incite the emotion, and they tell you what you want to hear or what they want you to get. So it's pretty basic stuff, but some people are better than others. Honestly, a lot of people are better than others. Like the great public speakers, They just mentioned some here I did some great speeches, but I feel like there's a lot of them, and this was just some of the elements of rhetoric.